back to your point though, about this idea of renegotiating your lease now, I'm going to jump ahead. So there are already people talking about this concept of either blend and extend or renegotiating or restructuring your lease. And I've been through 3 recessions, and let me tell you how these work. Okay, they work when 3 things line up. You need a perfect storm of the following 3 things to make it happen. The first is the credit of the tenant has to be decent. And I don't even mean exceptional. I mean, the credit of the company has to be legitimate enough that the landlord would believe that the tenant would continue to pay rent, because the nature of these restructurings are a rent concession today for an extension of term tomorrow. And that extension of term is typically 3 to 5 years. So credit of the tenant has to be decent. The second thing that has to happen is the market has to collapse. Okay, this is a timing issue. And so right now, asking rents across the country are the same as they were 2 months ago. Nothing's changed in the landlord's world. Okay, they're still getting the same rent they were 2 months ago, and nobody's transacting. So there's no comps. And those people that are transacting are just doing short 3-month extensions or 6-month extensions to kick the can into next year. And so if you're paying a rent that is X, you need the market rent to be 0.7X, okay, in order to have an effective renegotiation, because what you're trying to do is get the landlord to the table now to acknowledge the decrease in market rents, and then to price not only the current rent and remaining term on that new price, but also the extension thereof. Well, if landlords still think the market's X or 0.95X, you're wasting your time and you're going to get a terrible result. Okay, so the second thing that needs to happen is market rents have to go down substantially below what you're paying, okay, to be successful. The third is you really need to be within about 2 years of a lease expiration. So for a typical tenant, the timing on this is if your lease expires next year or into 2022, you become a very, very strong candidate for one of these lease restructurings. Next year, in 2021, those tenants that have 2023 expirations will be strong candidates for these lease restructurings. And I've done a couple hundred of these things. And the timing is critical, the messaging is critical, how you engage the landlord and their broker is critical. You have to be able to threaten to play the move card. And I think that's the advantage I bring to the table is when I'm negotiating against the landlord and their broker, if they don't give me what I need for my client now, I'm going to start moving them in 6 months.